Tell. Cockerel, he's just a true guy. You'll have a true time. Tell. Cockerel, leave your troubles at the door. You know the game, you know the score. We're here to have fun, so holster that gun and read the writing on the wall. The Predictions League, done every week. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel, he's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. Jose gets himself around, always talking Spurs wherever he is found, home or away. He always tips to win, throws the form book in the bin with a cheeky knowing grin. Tell, Cockerel, he's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. The Predictions League, done every week. It just goes on and on and on and on. Why do I always get it wrong? Every time I play along. Tell, Cockerel, the show is so chilled, your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tell, Cockerel. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel, the show is so chill, your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tell, Cockerel.
Better. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tell Cockerel, the week 4 competition results. Today is it Wednesday? Yeah, it's Wednesday today. Wednesday the 17th, I think. Yeah, 17th of September. I hope you're all well. Today I'm doing both the results and the predictions for next week, but one will follow the other. Wasn't too sure how long this would take. So I've got this show, the prediction show starting at 4:45, so in 42 minutes. But I hope you're all well, happy and healthy in whatever you guys are doing. Not many of you here, but that's because I've not publicised the show, because at the end of the day, if you've got your notification bell, you'll know that I'm here. Chris Peters, this afternoon, Jose, I'll probably be out when you're on. I'll catch up with my post and post my predictions tomorrow. That is not a problem at all, mate. You're more than welcome to do so. Good evening or good morning to you, Scott C. I hope you are well. Shem Sam is here. He says, hey, Mr. Bossman, I hope you're well today, sir. I am. Very well, very busy with life. Lots of things going on. Hence why not sure when I'm streaming, when I'm not. But it's nice to see you, mate. Richard is here. Says, hi, all. Hi, Rich. I hope you're well, mate. And Archer is here. Says good afternoon, Jose and chat. Good afternoon, Archer. I hope you are, sir. And Ronnie's just popped in, I think. Yeah, Ronnie's here. Says hello, Jose. Hello, Ronnie. How are you, sir? I hope you're well. Let me just show. Yeah, it's Ronnie. Ronnie's in the house saying hello. Hello, Ronnie. Oh, looks like Drula's here as well. Afternoon, Jose and the Crocker Crew. Good afternoon, Drula. Daz Reynolds is here. Says big up, Jose. Good afternoon, Daz. I hope you are well, sir, too. Oh, God, here we go. People are all popping in now. Alan says, hi, Jose. I hope you and the family are well, my friend. Yeah, all good here. I hope everything's good for you in your morning, your Wednesday morning over there, Alan, for you and your family. Like I said, the predictions show is straight after this for this week because I'm so busy with life at the moment and with work and with my family and that I cannot do Friday again because I'm not around on Friday. So this week we have to go early. I'm going to have to go straight after this show. So as soon as this finishes at 4:45, or even before that, as soon as we finish this show, we'll go straight into the predictions. I'll redirect everyone into the prediction show. So anyway, let's start as we mean to go on. Last week, first competition that we start with is always Predict the Prem. Hold on. Jax says, good evening. I've been in hospital with broken ribs and an arm, so I'm currently unable to predict, so don't worry about mine, as I'm not healthy enough to do it. Jack, first and foremost, mate, I hope that you are on the road to recovery. How the hell have you done that? It's a story for another day. First and foremost, I hope that you get better, mate. I hope you get better and healing vibes come your way. So, Jack, look after yourself, mate. Colin Blackshaw's here says, afternoon, Jose. So, yeah, the first one that we do is Predict the Prem. And in Predict the Prem at the moment, still 23 people have predicted so far this season. The people that have got 40 P40 next to their name, it's mean that they've done all 40 games. There's people that have predicted 40 games, which means there's been 4 weeks of the Premiership, 10 games each week of the Premiership. So there's 40 games predicted. You can see that it's yours truly that's leading the way. Actually opened up a gap at the top. I'll widen the gap, but Shemtam is there. Look, Shemtam is in second place, right behind me. It's Shemtam. He's on my coattail. Shemtam. Neil is third. Kev Clark fourth. Paul G is fifth, but Paul G has only predicted 10 games, 30 games. He's predicted 10 games less, and he's already in fifth place. Paul must be doing really, really well because his predictions here, he's been flying. He's been flying. And as you can see, you've got Jess in sixth, Graham in seventh, Scott C's in eighth, Vindaloo's ninth. Archer has missed one game, is in 10th. Fiona is 11th. Daz, the original Daz is 12th. Darren is 13th. Side Dancers 14th. Ronnie 15th. Daz, who's only predicted 30, so he's missed 1 week. He's in 16th. Brian is missed 1 game. He's in 17th. Carl 18th. Chris Peters 19th. As you can see, you guys can all see the screen there. But for this game, the predictions is led, or the Predict the Prem is led by me. And all games are this weekend. They're on Saturday and Sunday this week. I think there's 7 games on Saturday and 3 on Sunday, because next week is, I think it's Carabao Cup week. Yeah, because Carabao games started yesterday, but the people that are playing in Europe and the majority of Carabao Cup games are being playing next week. So therefore, in order not to condense everything, people are playing at the weekend. So it's not, there's no Friday games, there's no Monday games. It's straightforward Saturday and Sunday. So for Predict the Prem, get your predictions in. You've got till Saturday 12:30. I think it's the Merseyside Derby is the first game. So you've got till 12:30 to do your Predict the Prem. But that's the scores on Predict the Prem. Let me come out of that because there's some people coming in the show that I'm going to say hello to. So I have got okay, yeah, I'm all right. Long story. I was going to continue when we should. No, Jack, just go and get yourself better, mate. Jess is here. Says, big up, Jose. Good afternoon, Jess. I hope you are well. Shemsa says, don't worry, Mr. Bossman. I saw that. So to help out, I broke 3 mirrors, found 4 black cats to cross my path, and have an umbrella open next to me. Colin Blackshaw says, I'm sinking fast. Week 1 was 9th, now 18th. You might be 18th, but the points difference is what I'm saying. A point or two pumps you up there, and a point or two brings you back down. So it's quite close. Vindaloo's here. What's he got to say? Small down, Jose. At work, I think I did crap. Been really busy and just put anything down last week. I think I've got a crappy 10 points. I'll leave my predictions later on, mate. Vindaloo's in the next show. This is the results. I've got a prediction show at 4:45. That's where you're going to need to leave them. Big up, chap. I hope you did as bad as me. That's really nice of you, isn't it? Right, let's go on to the next game that we play, and that is Fantasy Football. Fantasy Football League. Right, share the Fantasy Football League. Let me get to it. I only ever read the teams that have moved up, so you'll be able to see where you all are. So there are 61 teams playing. Sahil's got a new entry. As you can see down the bottom, Sahil has a new entry to come in at the bottom there. But the people in green. Now, on this page, I didn't think people scored that badly. You've got Smithy, who scored 70 points. Paul Greaves, Wish Upon a Sart, scored 70 points. And Destiny 5 scored 70 points. So at this bottom end of the table, there's 3 people that scored 70 points there, which is quite good. So well done to the people that scored 70 points. But the movers this week is Jack. Jack, one of your teams has gone into 55th place. So he started climbing. Destiny 5 has gone up into 54th. And Kev Clark has gone into 51st. How do I get to the people that are further up? Right. That's the one. So, 51st. On the move here, Chris Peters scored 57 points. That took him up into 49th this week. Peter Parat scored 59 points. That's taken him to 46th this week. Blake scored 80 points, a big 80 points for Blake, and it took him up into 44th place. Ryan G, 74 points this week, has taken him up into 38th place. So well done, Ryan, there as well. Sai has scored 82 points this week, which has taken him to 33rd place. Robbie scored 70 points this week, which took him to 31st. Jim, Sir Archer, scored 74 points, which has taken him to 30th. Ronnie scored 80 points this week, which has taken him to 29th. Tanju scored 98 points. Wow, 98 points for Tanju. Took him into 28th. Sanjiv, 71 points, has taken him into 27th. Matty K, 69 points, has taken him into 25th. David has scored 76 points, which took him into 24th. Nathan, 71 points, has taken him up into 23rd. Rahman, 74 points, took him up into 22nd. Tot Josh scored 81 points, which took him into 21st place. Zoe scored 78 points, which has taken her to 18th. Ped, last year's winner of this competition, scored 70 points this week, took him into 16th. Tel Cockrell, 96 points, taking him to 13th this week. Darren, 86 points, took him into 10th. Jess scored 90 points this week. That took her into 8th. Carl scored 78 points, which moved him up into 7th. Jeff scored 94 points, which moved him up into 6th. And it's all changed at the top. It's completely changed. We've had Ryan Tristanas in 4th at the top. Ed M was in top. He's now 5th. Ryan's 4th. But Mark scored 86 points and has gone up into 3rd place. Steve scored 85 points and has gone up into 2nd. And Phil B, people will know him as Phil Coys. Phil Coys has scored 79 points and gone into 1st place. So well done, Phil Coys, Phil Barnett, as you know him, who lives up there in the Midlands near Birmingham. But well done, Phil. Phil's taken the lead now in this competition. Only 4 weeks in. It's still early days. 4 weeks in, but Phil's the leader. So well done, Phil. Again, with this, if you want to make your changes and stuff like that, you have until, if the first game kicks up at 12:30, I'd say although it says 11 o'clock, it'll probably say something like 10:30 or 11 on the actual site, the fantasy site. It closes down before that. So if I was you, I'd have a look and get it done by about 10 in the morning Saturday to make all your changes and stuff like that, which gives you enough chance to see all the press conferences, to see who's in, who's out, who the moves and shakes on each team, who's injured, who's available, and then you can change your teams from there if you so wish. But well done to Phil B. Right. Carl Simpson, Carl's here, says afternoon, Jose, all in the chat, good afternoon. Carl Paul G's here, says afternoon, or good afternoon, Paul. Shemtam, referring to Fantasy Premier, says that's because I used my bench booster this week and Haaland was captain. I haven't used a boost yet, Shemtam. No boosters for me. And then you've got good to get transferred in earlier. Some players' prices goes up, says Archer. Yeah, people play it in different ways, Archer. People play it in different ways. There are many ways to skin a cat in this game, but we're only 4 weeks in, and people that have all their bonuses still to play, because you've got to use them by a certain day towards the end of December, and then you get the same boosters again for the second half of the season. So there's plenty of boosters. Some people have played treble captain. Some people have played bench boost. Some people have played wild cards. I've used none so far, and yeah, I'm quite happy where I'm sitting at the moment in 13th. I mean, you don't know because I don't ask questions, but you live in the hope that some people have already used some of their stuff, and you're still to use them. But now we get on to predictions for last week. From the people in the chat, Vindaloo says he thought he got 10. What else? What do you guys think you scored last week? Vindaloo is right. Vindaloo did score 10 points last week. What do you guys, before I bring up on screen, what do you guys think you scored last week? How do you think you did? And as we say that, no one's sent anything yet. But James Talk Spurs, being a member for 11 months, says, big up, host. I hope you're well. I am, James. I hope you are well as well. Drula says she thinks you got 10. Drula, you did score 10. Ronnie thinks he got 10. Ronnie, yep, you did score 10. Archer thinks he got 10. God, 10 seems to be a popular number. Yeah, Archer, you did score 10. James reckons you got 7. James, you didn't get 7. Shemtam says he got -6. Now Shemtam's playing games because Shemtam knows he didn't get -6. All I'll say is, just to give people a bit of a heads up, the average last week was 11. 11 was the average last week. So you scored 11 and above, you're above average. Well, it's 11.06. So 11, you're average. 12, you're above average. Anything below 11, then you are below average this week. James, you can only. Did James have one more? James, you can only have one guess. You're saying 7, then you're saying 9. I can only say no to your first guess, and that was 7. You didn't score 7. Daz reckons you got 6. Do you? Don't even know. Where's Daz? You find Daz. Daz, you didn't score 6. Sorry, mate. You didn't get 6. Shentown's now saying, I think 7 or 8, maybe. I'd say that there was quite a lot of people that scored 10 this week, is what I'm going to say. Although the average was 11, quite a lot of people scored 10 this week. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the players scored single figures. But we didn't have that many players play this week. So if you've moved on up, you've done that because you took advantage, basically. But here we go. Let's go to where we need to go to. There we go. Let me take the comments off so you can see everything for the time being. Right. We managed to get everyone on one page this week. So let's start with game 1. Arsenal 3, Forest 0. If you score green, you know that means you've got the correct score. You get 3 points. If you score an orange, you get 1 point because you went for the right direction. So if you went for a home victory and it was a wrong score, but the home team won, you score a point. If you went for an away victory and the away team won, you score a point. If you went for a draw and it was any other draw than the draw you predicted, you score a point. But anyone that gets it bang on the money scores 3 points. And in the first game, Arsenal Forest, the people that got it on the money were Jose, Archer, and Totspurs. And yeah, scored 3 points. And anybody else that's in orange there, you scored a point because you went for the Arsenal victory, but you didn't get the correct scoreline. Game number 2, Bournemouth 2, Brighton 1. Some late shenanigans in this game for the scorelines to change, but when the scoreline did change, it benefited Jess, Drula, Neil, James, Page, Nick, Shemtam, Totspurs, Wayne Bonner, Vindaloo, Carl, Paul G, Ryan G, and Chris Peters, who all had the 2-1 victory and all got greens for that. Again, same story. Anyone who has an orange beside their name, anyone who has an orange in their box is because they predicted the home win for for Bournemouth, but not the correct score. Game number 3, Crystal Palace 0, Sunderland 0. 3 people got a point for this game, and that's because they all went for 2-2 draws. But this was a 0-0 draw, so they all got a point each. There's a lot of white there because people either went for the home victory or the away victory, but not many people went for the draw. Similar to the next game, Everton 0, Aston Villa 0. And in this game, you've got 5 people that got a point because they all predicted a draw, but not 0-0. They predicted 1-1s or 2-2s. And the points went to Archer, Edem, Colin B, Kuva, and Ryan G. All got a point for that game. We then went to Fulham Leeds, and it ended up being Fulham 1, Leeds 0. The only person that correctly predicted that scoreline was Wayne Bonner. Anybody else in orange there? Anyone else that got orange there? Paul, I've just seen you putting a comment in there. Anyone else got the orange in the Fulham Leeds game got a point. Ryan G and Chris P got 3 points for the Manchester Derby. Lol, you did me over, Jose. Right, Manchester Derby, where are we? Right, Manchester Derby. Oh, shit, you're right. It's 3-1 and 3-2. I've given them too many points, didn't I? Shit. Sorry, let me change that. Now that I've seen that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ryan G's on 13 points. I need to dock 2 points of him. And Chris B's on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. Okay. I only just seen that. So now just let me change Ryan G and Chris P. God, good job. I've got this. Ryan G is on 5 there. And then down to, so he's up to 38. And 2 points less gives him 53. And who's the other one? Chris Peters. Chris Peters goes down to 3 on that one. Up to 35 on that one. And he comes down by 2 points to 44. Right, the league tables may have changed, but I can't do nothing about that at the moment. But I've amended it on my week 5 that we're going to do today. So going forward, I've got the correct results. The next game ended up being Newcastle. Sorry, Paul, can I just say that Ryan G and Chris Peters are going to love you? That's what I'm going to say. Ryan G and Chris Peters are going to love you, Paul. But fair's fair. It always works out that fair's fair. So if I make a mistake, I apologise. And if it gets highlighted and we catch it out, then I change it. Newcastle 1, Wolves 0. No one predicted the 1-0 scoreline. The majority of people, all bar 2 people that predicted, went for a home win, and therefore everyone scored a point in that game. It's in orange. Oh, excuse me, I'm drinking my coffee. The next game ended up with Wolves 0, Tottenham 3. Quite a few people predicted this one correctly. And that would have been Jose, Alan, Daz, Ian, Neil, Shemtam, Scott C, Ellie, and Paul G. All correctly predicted the 3-0 scoreline. Everybody else that's in orange predicted an away win. There's only a couple of people that predicted 1 home and a draw. They wouldn't have scored a point for that game. Then we got to Brentford-Chelsea. Quite a weird game. It was 1-0 to Brentford, then it was 2-1 to Chelsea, and then Brentford scored later, made it 2-2. So it was a 2-2 draw in the end, and only one person predicted a draw and got the correct score in that draw, and that was Scott Colliver. Scott Colliver, only person that got any points in that game, correctly predicting a 2-2 draw. So well done, Scott. I'm just going to check, sorry, because I've changed that. Does that amend the averages? It probably brings it down to 10 point something now. And 10.9. So the average is 10.9. Yeah. So 11, you're above average. 10 and below, you're below average this week, is how it works out with that. And then you've got Burnley 0, Liverpool 1. The only person that correctly predicted a 0-1 was Ronnie. So Ronnie picked up the 3 points for that, correctly predicting that. And everybody that predicted went for a Liverpool victory. I think this is the only result that got maximum traction, i.e. everybody predicted a Liverpool victory. So everybody in this game scored at least a point. But the only person that got the 3 was Ronnie. The next game was Manchester City 3, Man United 0. And the only 2 people that predicted this one correctly were Jose and Paul G. Everybody else, including the 2 that you can see at the bottom, are all oranges. There's a few people that went for an away. I think a couple of people went for the away. Everyone else went in for a draw. And because they've gone in for a draw, they all scored a point. Right. Bonus games for last week were the New Saints, also known as TNS, versus Cleckley Town, and that ended up being 6-0 home win. So all the people in orange, no one predicted 6-0, but all the people that predicted a win for home win all got a point. The next luxury game, bonus game, was Nice 1, Nantes 0. Very close, tight affair. Only 1 goal in it. But there were some correct score lines here. Scott Colliver, again, correct scoreline 1-0. And Chris Peters, a correct scoreline of 1-0. Everybody else, you can see yourself in orange. It means you predicted a home win. And then the last game, the third bonus game, was Ayosspor versus Galatasaray. It ended up being 0-2 to Gala. And the people that correctly predicted this were Daz Reynolds, Nick, Scott Colliver, and Paul G. All correctly predicted a 0-2. So well done. So the man of the week this week with 18 points was Scott Colliver. So well done, Scott. Pat on the back for you, mate. 18 points. Massive, great effort. 18 points. 4 greens in there to get your 18 points. So well done you, sir. Another person who got 4 greens and came second this week was Paul G. 17 points with 4 greens in there. So well done, Paul. And as I said, the average for people this week it's 10.9. So this week, Jose scored 16 points. Graham scored 9 points. Archer scored 10. Alan scored 10. Jess scored 12. Edem scored 9. Drula scored 10. Daz Reynolds scored 10. Ian scored 12. Neil scored 12. Ben scored none. James scored 11. Paige scored 8. Nick scored 14. Colin B got 9. Shemtan 10. Totspurs 14. Wayne Bonner 14. Ronnie scored 10. Nita scored 7. Vindaloo scored 10. Carl scored 12. Scott Colliver scored 18, man of the week. Ellie scored 10. David Shear scored 10. Kuva scored 8. Paul G scored 17. Ryan G scored 13. Chris Peters scored 12. Now, as I said, I've had to change the tables around, but the only people I've had to turn around is Ryan G and Chris Peters have got 2 points less than what's on here, but I've changed that for this week's predictions. So that means the league table this week looks as such. Right, so we've now got 43 people playing because Paige was a new player last week. And Paige in her first week scored 8 points. So anyone in blue, it's your first week. Anyone in green, it means that you've moved up the table. If you're in white, you've either not moved or you've come down positions. But Paige straight in at number 38 after 1 week. So well done, Paige. And then the second half of this is, here we go. Right. So the next mover after Paige, yeah, it is. So the next mover after Paige is James. James has climbed into 28th. Wayne Bonner into 27th. Neil's up to 26th. Daz is up to 25th. Paul G with your massive week. And I think, Paul, you've missed 1 week, haven't you? I think you've missed 1 week. I think you started a week later than everyone else. I think you was on holiday or something, or you're away at some stage. I think you've missed a week compared to everyone else. He's already up into 23rd. Chris P is still in 22nd, although he's got 44 points, not 46. Chris P is up to 22nd. Ellie is up to 18th. Scott C with his mammoth week. Man of the week, Scott, has taken him to 14th place. Now, he shares 14th. Is that right? It is as well. Yeah, 9, 26. 27 is 53. That's right. 18. Right. Actually, this table is wrong. Scott C should be higher than what he is because Scott C's got more correct predictions. So Scott really should be sitting in 11th. Alan's in 12th. Nick's climbed into 13th. And Totspurs has climbed into 14th. That will be rectified next time around. But, well, all three of you have moved up regardless of what happens. Ian has climbed into 9th. And Ryan G has climbed into 10th because Ryan G's got 53 points as well. But they would have climbed this week anyway. So 2 more greens there. Jess with her 12 points this week has taken her up into 5th place. So Jess has climbed into 5th. And Carl, another mover and shaker with his points this week. What did Carl get this week? Because whatever he got made him move up. Right, Carl scored 12 points. So Carl and Jess both scored 12 points each. And that's made them both go up the table. So Jess is in 5th, Carl's in 4th. Archer, I think you've remained in third. Vindaloo has remained in second. And yours truly is leading the way. And I've opened up a gap because I scored 16 this week and Vindaloo scored 10. So my gap has been opened up slightly. So that's where you all are, people. Hello, Nita. Nita's just joined us. I hope you're well, Nita. Nita, on the screen. Nita, you're currently 15th there. And this week, Nita, you scored 7 this week, Nita. So your scores are up there. Yeah, you did, Nita. You scored 7 points. So you got 7 oranges. So yeah, you did. You scored 7 points. But that puts you into, you're in 15th now out of 43 people, Nita. So well done, you. Right. In order, as I don't want to keep people too long, what I might do is, unless you guys have got anything to say, I might just go from this show and go to the next one, because the predictions for this week we need to do now. But instead of doing it on this one, I want this one to be the results show, because what I've done is I've put it to members only for the other one. So therefore, the only people that can predict will be members. So unless people got anything more to say, and you're happy with does anyone need to see any of the other 2 games? If not, then I can end and we can go to the next one, which is the prediction show. Does anyone need to see Predict the Prem or see Fantasy Football? No? Right. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to end this show. I'm going to redirect everyone to the predictions for week 5. So this is the results for week 4, and I'll redirect you all straight into the other stream to do the predictions for this week. Yeah? So I shall see you in a few minutes. All right, so hang on in there and you'll be redirected.
Tell, Cockerel, he's just a true guy. You'll have a true time. Tell, Cockerel, leave your troubles at the door. You know the game, you know the score. We're here to have fun, so holster that gun and read the writing on the wall. The Predictions League, done every week. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel, he's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. Jose gets himself around, always talking Spurs wherever he is found, home or away. He always tips to win, throws the form book in the bin with a cheeky knowing grin. Tell, Cockerel, he's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. The Predictions League, done every week. It just goes on and on and on and on. Why do I always get it wrong? Every time I play along. Tell, Cockerel, the show is so chilled, your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tell El Tel, Cockerel. The show is so chill, your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chats,